Hey, it's Sharon here from Content Sparks, and in this video I'm going to give you a sneak peek inside our course called Website Planning Workshop for Beginners. Now, this is a course that is for either a brand new website, or you could use it to help someone do a total redesign. And it could be used by business coaches, consultants, service providers who want to help your clients avoid some of those common mistakes that a lot of people make when they're first setting up a website, first creating one or redesigning one. Or if you're even a web developer who is helping people do their websites, create their websites, this is a great course that you can also use to help your clients get ready, shortcut a lot of the processes that take ages to walk a client through that you have to do over and over again. So it saves you time, it saves them time, it streamlines the process as well. So let's just hop straight in. And this is just the sales page. Okay, so let's hop right over to the folder. And this is what you will see. You won't see these two at the bottom because they're editable files, but you'll see that you will get student materials, instructor materials, and lead generation materials when you buy a license to the course. In the student materials, you get the main student materials, so a course book or student guide, some people call it, an action guide with a whole bunch of worksheets in it, a cheat sheet, which is kind of your outline, or cheat sheet, a summary of the course, and there are the graphics we give you also in separate files. So if I open up the course book, you'll see that is in a Word document, and I'm just going to open this up completely rather than do a preview. So you can see there's a big table of contents, there's the title, places for you to edit, you put your own logo in, you can call it whatever you want, change the name. I definitely recommend you change the name to something that makes sense for you and your audience and what you offer. Same with the subtitle. And then when you've done all your edits, you can just update the table of contents to change any wording or numbers. But you'll see that there are several different modules. You could even break some of these up if you wanted to deliver them separately and then do the rest of the course another time. So there's an introductory module where they look at their website goals, your students, you can walk them through that. You can have any of this recorded with the slides that I'll show you in a second so that you can just do Q&A sessions live and have the rest of it recorded. But you'll walk them through defining their website's unique value proposition, ideal visitor, competition, uniqueness, all those things, even if they're redesigning a site, are really important to do because they drive all the rest of the decisions. Then there's a content plan for laying out all the different content that's on the site, like branding and layout, key pages, the domain name itself. So if it's somebody doing a new site, doing the domain name, picking the right one. And then there's actually the development plan. So some people will have the tech skills to do it themselves. So there is a module with some guidance on that. But then a lot of people may want to outsource it, and you can guide them through that to make sure they pick the right person and manage them through and set up the timeline, because that can be really tricky too, and it's hard to pick someone. And then there's a launch plan as well, which you need to have to actually get visibility. And again, this can be something like relaunching a website. So the course book or student guide here, you'll see has everything laid out and formatted already. There's graphics. We use these smart art graphics in Word, but you could replace them with something else. And then it's all nicely laid out, so all you have to do is go in and maybe add some of your own insights and examples to make it unique, make sure that it fits with your audience. So things like goal examples, here there's 3 different goals. Showcase your different bookkeeping service packages, have people sign up for a free consultation, generate leads for future follow-up. Those are all sample goals for a website. And you could have more than one, but you may want to change those if your people say focus on e-commerce, then you might do examples for that. So that walks them through setting up that goal. And again, if somebody is redesigning a site, maybe they never clarified their goal in the first place, or their target audience, or their unique value proposition. So it really helps to go back to those fundamentals and in the context of their website in particular. So there's the uniqueness, all of that, and then you go into the website content plan. And here, these again are all the things you would want to lay out either in advance of working with someone to develop their site or to help them before they go working with a freelancer or outsource the development of their site. So if they think all of it through first, then they're going to save a lot of time and money, and they will have a better quality site. So you walk them through thinking about their branding, their layout and navigation, user experience, how they want people to work through the site, key content pages, domain name. So it's all in here, design assets, and there's next steps at the end of each module along with worksheets and the action guide, which I'll show you in a second. Thinking through the user experience is really important. This is where a lot of websites just don't work because they're too difficult for people to navigate. So it may look great and look beautiful and have great graphics, but if somebody can't find their way around, then it's useless and it's not going to convert. So thinking through those sorts of things are all going to help save time and make sure the website is high converting when people do land on it. And they walk through key pages, help with that. We do have another course called Strategic Website Content that goes into more depth on this. So you'll see throughout that there are some things that fit really well with other courses in our library. So a course like Strategic Website Content will go into this in more depth, or next level website content. But for now, you want people to plan it out and decide what pages and make sure it fits in with the entire website plan, fits with SEO. If you want to go into more depth afterwards on SEO, we have another course on that. But get through the key stuff in this one so that they know exactly what they need to put together, and they can either do it themselves or work with a developer. So things like the domain name if it is a brand new site or a rebrand to a new site. And then there's the website development plan. Like I said, it can be DIY, it can be outsource. So something like figuring out your project parameters, and there's, let's keep going through here. I don't want to go through everything. DIY, there's different options for DIY. There's a questionnaire for that. So we don't go into a lot of depth on the DIY because this is not a tech course. This is figuring out all the stuff that comes first. And that's the really critical stuff, because actually building the site, there are a lot of website builders out there. And I mean tools for building a website. And if you already know everything that's going to go in, then actually building it is going to be a lot faster and easier. And again, you'll be more efficient if you work with a developer. So there's a whole section on outsourcing the build, putting together a brief, finding a developer, the questions to ask. I'll show you those worksheets, timelines for doing it and figuring that out. Creating a launch plan, so what kind of visibility tactics you'll use. So this will go through the most powerful ones. Keep it simple so you can get the site off the ground, simple different things. And then as people have their new site, you can get into more depth on some of these things, like being a guest on a podcast or doing more social media marketing. Just add on courses on that because we do have them. But start with the basics so that people are getting off the ground. Then we have the metrics, of course, launch activities, timelines for that, and finally next steps. Have them sit down and do their plan of what they haven't done yet. So that is the course book. Let me just show you, I mentioned the action guide as well. So there is a main action guide, and then there are a few different worksheets, a branding checklist, a site brief, which is for actually outsourcing it, a questionnaire, freelancer research, development plan. So the main action guide is going to have something for each module, each lesson, and the action steps, even if it uses a worksheet. So for instance, for branding, if I go over to that section, you'll see it asks some different questions, and then it says, complete the branding checklist. And what they would then do, you would have them do, is you'd give them the branding checklist, which looks like this. And this could even be a nice little extra lead magnet, call it whatever you want. But it's a nice little extra that you could put into Canva as well and have as a whole set of different tools for building a website. So keep that in mind when you're looking at all these things that we've laid out relatively simply. You can jazz them up or upload them to something like Canva. And then that is the action guide. So you can see there's a lot of stuff in there. Other worksheets in here, I'll just pull out a couple. I said there's the site brief. That's all the elements, so a way to summarize everything that you've decided, and it helps with deciding whether to build the site yourself or outsource it. There's a site builder questionnaire, which is also if you're trying to decide what tool to use, whether it's something like WordPress or Squarespace or something else, you can look through and help them figure out what to use. If they're outsourcing, there's a great worksheet in here for asking questions and getting answers for any freelancers, so you can figure out who to hire. And then there is even a development plan in a spreadsheet. Now, normally I would just recommend that people use something like Asana. That's what we use, a project management tool. But this can form the basis of that because it has for each section branding, content, user experience, layout, what tasks, who's going to do it, the deadline. So you can do it in here as well. Now, those are the key student materials. I did mention there's a cheat sheet. That's that summary. So this is really helpful to put together as, say, PDFs, individual PDFs that you can put under each video. So if you use the slides to create video, you could do this as a PDF and hand it out underneath so that people don't have to rewatch the whole video just to get the key points. If you run it as live sessions, you can hand this out as a bonus. Just separate it once you've done your edits and rebranding. It's easier to do all the branding at once in one document. I'll skip the graphics for now. Let's go over to the instructor materials. Now, the main thing in the instructor materials is going to be the slideshow, and we put the text underneath your speaking notes to refer to, not to read, but to refer to as you're recording. We put it inside the slideshow to make it easier to present. There's also some guidance in an implementation guide, an evaluation form that you can hand out to people to get feedback, some follow-up emails for after the course finishes so you can keep in touch with people, and a list of research sources where we pulled a lot of information for pulling this together because we do all the research ourselves and then design the course based on instructional design best practices. So let's open up the slideshow so I can show you that. And as I mentioned, you'll see there are notes under each one. This is text taken from the course book so that you have something to refer to remember what the different points are on the slide. And again, we've kept it simple, place to put your logo. You apply whatever design you want, any colors. You can, like documents, but even easier, you can import this to Canva and do some designs there, apply one of their templates just to get some colors and styles, or you can just keep it in PowerPoint. I've done it both ways because it's also very easy to present and record in Canva. But you'll see we keep the bullet points as short as possible, but still being able to remember what the slide is about as you record. And there's the course roadmap, shows all the modules. So you would start with a welcome video, talk about the course outcomes, you add in a little something about yourself, and get people off to a quick start. I would go on camera first in something like a welcome video so that people can connect with you. And then you have each module. Most of them have individual lessons in them. This one has just establish your website goals, and it goes through pros and cons of websites. So if you could go through this faster if people already know they need a website and just go into the goal setting section. So turning your purpose in. So you'll see again what the slides look like. And again, there's examples, change it to fit if it makes sense. If they already make sense for your audience, you don't need to change it. There's no reason to. you're presenting it, you're adding your own voice and element to it. So it's going to be unique to you anyway. So there's different examples of websites. And again, you have the action steps here at the end of each one. If you're doing this live, make sure you leave some time for questions as well. So before those action steps, before you tell them what to do, go ask them if they have any questions. Otherwise, if you record it as video in between each module or each lesson, I recommend you schedule just a live Q&A. You can do it on Zoom if you have a small group. You could do it in your community as a live stream so that it's private, any way you want. Lots of ideas. So we've got module 2. Again, you'll see where there are separate lessons. There's a slide that says what the lessons are, so you can introduce the module, say, okay, here are there 3 lessons I'm going to cover. Let's jump into lesson 1. And lesson 1 would be 1 video, 1 presentation that you walk through. We've, again, used these graphics of what's called smart art in PowerPoint, but you could replace them or even change the design. There are ways to change the design in PowerPoint. You go up into the smart art design and you can pick other things and see what they look like if something else looks better to you. Okay? And that, I think, is most of the stuff on the slideshow. The rest you can see. Some of them do have a longer example on the slide. You don't have to do that. You could refer people just to the course book or the student guide to see it, but it's nice for them to be able to see it on the slide. Or you could just have one example. So remember, as you're going through, to think about how you would customize this for yourself. You can always use that cheat sheet, that summary, to get ideas. And also think about if there are ones that you want to break out. So Module 3, site layout and user experience, that could be a good one to just break out as something standalone. Maybe even all of Module 3 you might want to do as a standalone course. Create your website content plan and maybe enhance it with something like our strategic website content course. But if you're relatively new and haven't done a lot of these before, I do recommend that you stick with the layout we've done, because it does have a logical flow to it, and we've used instructional design best practices there. So that is the entire slideshow. Don't get too overwhelmed by the number of slides, 213 slides, but you're going to have a few per lesson. So each one will be shorter. Do all your branding and stuff here and edits in one, and then just break it up into separate files if you're going to record as video, or just record short segments, stop, and then come back where you left off to do another one. Don't try recording it all at once. It would be way too overwhelming for everyone. And if you make one mistake, you have to redo the whole thing. So that's the slideshow. I said there's an implementation guide, evaluation form, follow-up emails. I'm not going to go through all of those because the main thing is that slideshow as well. One thing I do want to make sure you don't miss is this research sources, because there is a whole list of different things, and it's great for you to go in and read up from some legit sites on different aspects of creating a website. So you are informing yourself, educating yourself, even if you already are an expert, seeing what some of the latest stuff is. And we've already gone through all of these, so you don't have to worry about that. Some people like to read it too, so you can give it to students. Then we've got the last section, which is the lead generation materials. And this is all the content you can use to build a funnel, attract students to your course. Some of it could even be paid. The opt-in report is the basis for the rest of the lead magnet. We just give it to you in different formats. So this has the 5 keys to a high-impact website. Unlock the 5 keys and start planning your own. So this would give people some quick wins if they're planning their website. Reword it if it's going to be, say, redesigning your website, and talk about the different steps. Each one, there's 5 different things, has next steps after it, so you make this very actionable. So boosting site's visibility, there are some key things in there, and then action steps. where they pick quick things they can do in just a few minutes or half an hour, no more than an hour, and then build a strong brand identity. This is the sort of opt-in report where they can go through it very quickly, get some things done, and not just put it on their hard drive and never look at it again. And if you really want to get them using it, which I highly recommend, go in and use the slides and cheat sheet. So the cheat sheet is like that one I showed you before. It's that high level outline that has just the different elements. So just in a few pages, a nice summary. And then use the slideshow to do a little live stream or a Zoom call or something like that. I really, again, recommend you try and do it live if you can, or give people a video and then have a follow-up where you just do a very casual Q&A, so you don't have the pressure of presenting everything live. But what's nice here is it does have it broken up, all the stuff from the opt-in report with key points you can edit again and the next steps on each one. So you can make several really short videos and then Q&A. And wherever you can get that live element, you're going to have more conversions at the end, where we did include a slide. Edit that, put in your sales page for your main course. You're going to get more conversions if you're talking to people. So those are the 3 things for the lead magnet. And then we've given you some follow-up emails. So if once people have opted in for whatever format you're doing, report, video, live, you can then send them the download and kind of nurture along with more information that follows up the report, but always have that call to action at the end to look at your course. You don't really need to wait. You've given them some good tips and they're going to be interested in signing up for your course. They won't necessarily need to read all of this, but there is kind of a mini sales letter email at the end. And it always has write your personal introduction and insert features of your course, so placeholders as well. And the last things in here in the lead generation materials, we do give you some blog posts. If you're using them on your blog, you would want to edit those more than if you're just sending an email. So here's something where you can add images, maybe expand on some of them. These blog posts are a great place to also use a tool like ChatGPT with your own style guide and just say, hey, I'll ask it to rewrite it based on your style guide. So what type of tone, what type of breakup, of what kind of formatting you want, what personality, what perspective. So give it all the detail, ask for more examples. So that'll give you some ideas of how you could edit it, and then you manually go in and edit what you want in there to make it more unique to you, including the title. So there are 5 of those. And then there's an infographic as well, which is in Canva. So you can edit that. It looks like this, but it's in actually, no, it's not in Canva. It's in Smart Art. Sorry about that. It is in Smart Art in PowerPoint. So you can edit that, or again, you could upload this to Canva or just take the text and make your own infographic. It's a summary of the opt-in report. And then finally, there are some social media posts. There are about 30 of those, I believe. Again, you can edit them any way you want. You could use these as ideas to put on images. You could ask ChatGPT to shorten them or reword them. You could ask ChatGPT to make them longer and suggest an image. So those are some other ways you can edit those. And that is everything. One thing I do want to make sure you don't miss though, so not quite everything, is the contents list. So this is actually in a PDF, but I have it open in Word so you can see that it gives you that snapshot of everything in the course, including the learning objectives and what materials you'll get. So you could even use that as the basis for your sales copy. Look out once you add this to your cart for an option for an upgrade pack as well that does have sales page copy and module quizzes that you can use at the end of each module in each lesson. And that truly is it now. So head over, if you're not already on the page, and add this to your cart, and then let me know anytime if you have questions. You can send an email to support@contentsparks.com, or even to me, Sharon, SHARYN, @contentsparks.com. Hope that was helpful.